You know, one of the disciples said one time, Jesus said, who do you think I am, or who do you say that I am? And one of them said Jeremiah. Somebody said, who does people say that I am? And he said Jeremiah. Some people say you're Jeremiah. It's an incredible compliment. You know, Jeremiah preached 40 years, didn't have one single convert. Nobody treated him right. You know, they were always beating him up or throwing him in a pit or a dungeon or whatever. And finally, being called as a young man, here he is. He's had all he can take. You know, God doesn't fall off his throne when you really just tell him like it is. And this is what Jeremiah did. Oh Lord, you induced me, and I was persuaded. You are stronger than I have prevailed. I'm in derision daily. Everyone mocks me. For when I spoke, I cried out. I shouted violence and plunder, because the word of the Lord was made to me a reproach and a derision daily. In other words, I just told them what you told me to tell them, that they're going to be destroyed. Then I said, I will not speak anymore in his name. But his word was in my heart like a burning fire, shut up in my bones. I was weary of holding it back, and I could not, for I heard them mocking. They mocked me, saying, fear on every side, because that's what he said. Report, they say, and we will report to you, making fun of him. But then he goes on down. He says in verse 11, but the Lord is with me as a mighty awesome one. Therefore my persecutors will stumble and will not prevail. They will be greatly ashamed, for they will not prosper. Their everlasting confusion will never be forgotten. But, O Lord of hosts, you who test the righteous and see the mind and the heart, let me see your vengeance on them, for I have pleaded my cause before you. But I want you to see the way he ends up. Sing to the Lord. Praise the Lord, for he has delivered the life of the poor from the hand of the evildoers. He ended with praise in this tirade that he was making. You know, and he goes back and he vents a little more, but still, here is this combination of praise and just exploding with emotional frustration. You know, God didn't knock him off for that. He didn't put out a contract on him. He didn't kill him. He was still his prophet. He was still his servant. You know, we get frustrated by different things, and we don't see the whole picture. I had a professor one time, Dr. Huey, in Southwestern, and he talked about being, I forgot where he was on the mission field, but their daughter was dying, and it was going to take 3 days to get penicillin, and the doctor that was with him said that she's going to die. And he said, I couldn't stand the crying anymore, and I put her on the steps, and I listened to her scream, and I gave her to God. And he said that baby lived. And he said, and he told that story when he explained this passage. You know, I thought about my mother. When I was born, there was something wrong with my stomach. I couldn't take any food. I got down to almost death size. And I had to be in Crawford Long for 3 weeks. Back then they put needles in your head. And somehow or another had fed me through needles. But she said, I couldn't take the screaming anymore. That you were so weak and you were crying. And I went down into the chapel there at Crawford Long. And I said, Lord, if he lives, he's yours for the rest of his life. If he dies, he's still yours. I'm not going to demand that you do something for me. I'm giving him up to you one way or the other. Obviously, I lived. But here's the story. When I think about these guys, this point of utter exhaustion of your resources in what you feel is obedience to God, he understands your frustration. You know, William Carey, one of my heroes, and he was this missionary. He was a guy and a cobbler in England. That's a pot person. And here he was, a shoe guy. And here he was, he gets called to the mission field in India. And he goes out there, works all these years, makes all these presses, has all this, the Bible in so many languages, and it all burns down one night. He sat there with tears running down his eyes. He says, my whole life is over. It's done. All these years of work. He got on the back page of the London Times. He kept moving up, finally got on the front page. They sent him so much money. He had to say, stop sending money, we have more than enough. In his biography, he says that what I thought was the worst day of my life turned out to be the greatest day of my life. What I thought was terrible turned out to be God's blessing. Don't ever stop along the way, even if you have to tell God like it is. He understands, and he'll keep you moving down the road. God bless you. Have a great day.